Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is always our most anticipated presentation of the week. These gentlemen need no introduction. They are now world famous. Please welcome Jaime Maussan, Santiago Garza.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is the microphone okay? No? Okay, now it's okay. Santiago and myself want to dedicate this very special presentation to Terry Brown. The woman, the mother, the organizer. I'm sorry. This is her legacy. This Congress has become, and I can tell you this for sure, because I have been around the world in all the Congresses that there are. And this is by far the most important, the most prestigious Congress in the world. And in many ways, this has happened because of Terry. I hope, Terry, wherever you are, that you will enjoy this presentation that is going to be very special and very moving for many people. Then, Terry, enjoy. Thank you. As you know, we are journalists. We dedicate our time to do investigations. And we became involved in this phenomenon since 1991. Since then, I have presented many of these stories and videos in television. My main goal was to get evidences, to motivate people in my country to watch the skies with a video camera in their hands. Today, this organization has grown. We now are 30 people, full-time, paid, working just exclusively in this incredible phenomenon. We also have a magazine. We have a television program, 2 hours, prime time, Sunday night, from 7 to 9 p.m., national in Mexico. Because of that, we are able to get anything that happens in Mexico. We have thousands of volunteers, and we have a network of very specialized people, around 30 or 50 of them named Los Vigilantes, that on daily basis watch the sky. Probably what has happened in Mexico, it happens everywhere. But not everywhere are people watching this phenomenon. Not everywhere are people being paid fully to work exclusively as professionals in this phenomenon. For that reason, we can come every year and present you evidences that nobody else has. And that is why, even that we were here in the same place a year ago, we are able to come back and present you a special presentation with everything new. And we had to choose from what we had, because there is so much more, and we don't have time. Santiago Yturria, who is a very important part of this organization, has taken in his hands to make all the investigations internationally, and very especially the investigations in the space. And we will be able to present you, because of his patience and his work, his incredible work, the images that I think nobody else has presented yet. I don't know if anybody else has them. Probably they have them, but we don't know, and nobody has presented them. For that reason, I want to start exactly with that, with the experience in the space. Please, Santiago.
Thank you, Jaime. And welcome, everyone. Thank you. Well, following the recent NASA missions has been a great experience for me, an experience in which I have learned what NASA and the astronauts know, that we are not alone in space. And this experience was very surprising, and we are going to share with you the results of this experience, including some very strange incidents and some dramatic ones. And on the other hand, regarding Mexico, what can we say? We are very, very excited at this moment because we are just having an extraordinary times in Mexico. And we can say that we now are witnessing a very intense UFO activity, and we are witnessing UFO sightings daily. And these UFOs are getting closer and closer every day. So you may wonder, why Mexico? Why is so special of Mexico that has so many UFO sightings? Well, we can say that in Mexico, the conditions are perfect. The conditions are given, and now we have a complete awareness among the people to the phenomena. But not only to the common people, but also to the government, to the authorities, to the religious institutions, to the military, and the media. Thank you. So this full awareness has created a wonderful consciousness awakening among all the people. So, my friends, we are in heaven. Yes, we are. So we want to invite you to join us in this exciting adventure into the realm of the UFO phenomena. Just open your mind and enjoy the experience. Thank you.
What we are going to present you is not science fiction, it's reality. The reality and the evidences obtained, produced by the Mexican people. Very humble, very simple. People that in many occasions don't have computers and don't know anything about hoaxes or conspirations. They just know that there are things flying in the sky. Just before we start, I want to tell you that on February 1st, that's 1 month ago, in live television, we were able to present around 10 or 15 videos taken live again in the television. I think that's the first time ever in history that something like that has happened, and that can tell you, in that simple event, how intense and important is the activity. I believe that the Mexican people and this country has been prepared for something bigger in the very near future. And fortunately enough, we are ready, we are prepared to be there, to get the evidences, and to have the full cooperation of the authorities, the media, and the people of Mexico. And that is why I believe this country has been chosen for what is happening right now. Okay.
Thank you.
We are going to start, but we are going to start with the space, because I think it's very, very important. And we're going to start with the only video that is not from this year.
Can we bring the lights down, please?
The lights out.
Please, so we can have a better view of the projection. Yes.
This is the mission STS-114. In that mission, Santiago obtained this video. This was not part of our work or effort. He obtained it from
Dr. Oren Sweringer, who was very lucky to get this exact moment on tape. He was following that mission.
But then we realized at that moment that this was intelligent. It was an intelligent movement designed to be observed and to attract our attention. The shuttle Discovery in August 2005 was just in the middle of the Pacific Ocean when the camera were able to see many different objects, many, around the shuttle. And suddenly one of them comes,
As you can see, that suddenly stops. And then, very surprisingly, made a turn and returned, as you can see here. Now, this is a very, very unusual maneuver or behavior, because it's very disconcerting. It's not a nice particle or something like that. I mean, this certainly reflects an intelligent movement.
Then we had the next mission, STS-121 in July. By the middle of June, we were able to receive a wire from the DPA agency saying that the Russians were really worried about an object that was hovering very near the International Space Station, 2.2 kilometers away. And they suggested that the astronauts should be evacuated if this became dangerous. For that reason, we think that even though many engineers in NASA oppose the mission of the Discovery because they thought it was not ready, even though it was sent almost on time. If you remember that controversy, then probably this is the reason why the Discovery was sent, because there was an object moving very near. And this was not published by any American newspaper, not in Mexico either. But fortunately, we have the papers from this agency, news agency, that prove that this was real. And this is the position where this was. The Discovery hooked to the International Space Station.
Now you're going to see, this is a mechanical arm, and as you can see at the top, there is the astronaut. This is a footage of the spacewalk, and look at the bottom, this strange, huge, rectangular or tubular unknown object. This is assuming that came from nowhere and got closer to the astronauts working on in this spacewalk. So they began continue. The live transmission was not interrupted. Then the camera operator in Houston made this zooming out because the object suddenly disappeared. And look how the camera operator is trying to locate this mysterious object, but he doesn't find it. So this clearly reflects that they were very interested and they knew about this presence. Could this object have been the one that the DPA agency gave the warning?
Then the STS-115 from the 9th to the 20th of September. In this mission, something very important happened. On September 19th, the Atlantis was scheduled to be back on Earth. But something happened. An object, a mysterious object, according to NASA, obstructed the way, the trajectory of the Atlantis. And for that reason, and you know that, this is a fact, they had to wait for 24 hours to come back. They said at the beginning that probably was one part of the Atlantis. Then they said was a plastic bag. Don't laugh, it's true. Then they said was space trash. Then finally, they officially say and was classified as a mysterious object. What is a mysterious object? You know, I wonder why not a single journalist in the United States asked NASA, what do you mean by a mysterious object? But that's exactly what happened. And I believe that was the beginning of a new era in the space. It means that the objects that were very far away now were obstructing, now were present in the NASA missions. That had to be a message. That had to be a warning of some kind. 3 days later, 2 or 3 days later, there was a press conference. Marianne Stephanie Sheen Piper, the woman who made the spacewalk. You all know that she fainted twice. The NASA said it's because she was in the space, and et cetera, et cetera. But you never heard what she was saying when she fainted. I want you to see and hear what she's saying at that moment, because this could explain everything from that mission.
This is something that, something that you've never seen before. And when I finally got to go out the door, that was something different too. And I figured that would never happen without the preparation we had training the team. And so I'd like...
That is called post-traumatic stress syndrome. And that happens to a person who is very scared. She was saying, it's something we had never seen before. I saw it too. And we didn't think this could happen.
And we must keep in mind
Space
that
flight's a tough business now, you know? Give her a break.
this astronaut was the one who made the spacewalk on that mission from Atlantis. Atlantis was a
Stand here.
extraordinary mission, full of incidents. Now, this is time when she fainted for the second time.
What happened to her? Then we review the videos, or Santiago reviewed the videos, because it's a very difficult thing. Let me explain you something. Santiago records 24 hours a day, all the days that the mission lasts. And from there, he has to review the tapes and get the images. It's something that anybody can do.
Now, the action of the space shuttle Atlantis on September 9th began very early, 9 o'clock in the night. And when the Atlantis was passing by, Mexico, coincidentally Mexico, they suddenly saw these strange lights and see how the camera operator made this kind of zooming because it got the attention of him. And as you can see, it's a perfectly clear multi-light formation. We know them in Mexico as the UFO fleets. So the action began very early and I was very excited. But that was not all. More were coming. Of course, during the live transmissions, and these times there are no sensors, and suddenly on the background appear multiple lights, strange objects, luminous objects moving in different directions, as you can see here. But you must keep in mind that these moments are maybe just seconds, maybe just minutes, and you have to be there to capture that moment and to keep that as an evidence. This is another one you can see in the left part of the screen where this object is going to appear going up. This is the International Space Station, and this was filmed by Atlantis before they hook up. And as you can see here, this object, so Atlantis was approaching the International Space Station. This is an image taken the last day of the mission, and the last day of the mission was intense. Many, many objects around the space station and the Atlantis hooked up, and as you can see here, this sequence of images were captured live, and when I saw these images, I say, well, they are surrounded. This happened the night of that day, that infamous day that they decided to delay the return of the shuttle Atlantis because of the presence that you are going to see of this unknown object. But this happened at night, and as you can see many objects around, they were making these inspections of the shuttle, and just to be sure that the shuttle has not any damage. And when they were making this inspection with the cameras, they captured all this activity. And but that was not all. You are going to see something very dramatic, very interesting that Jaime is going to show you.
My people told me that we need to reduce the lights because we're losing some of the images, please. Can we reduce a little
bring the
bit
lights more, please?
the images?
Because they are very strong.
I think it's more important than to see that than to see ourselves.
These lights in the front, please. Can we bring it down, please?
Could we do that, please? The lights?
So the people know us already, so we don't need lights. It's better to watch the videos.
Can we do that? Okay.
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 Okay, thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you.
Now, on this happened on the third day of the mission.
Now, this is a very interesting incident that Jaime is going to tell you about. It's an intriguing image that we still cannot understand. This is the shuttle Atlantis, yes.
You can see that the Atlantis is releasing a lot of so-called water. If you consider that every liter of water in the space costs $1,200, and you see thousands of liters of water being released to the space, you have to wonder what it is. Is this really water? And then at that moment, in the top, you can see an object coming, a large tubular object coming, very bright.
And this is a real object. This is not a reflection of the lens. And you are going to see in the zooming. And
And
this
it's
object
moving,
appeared,
as you see.
yes, got close. Could it be possible that this object was interested in these huge amounts of liquid expelled by the shuttle Atlantis? Could it be? Because this could be also a contamination, you know, throwing so much tons of fluid into space that most surely will fall on Earth. So we don't know, but this object of this rare shape, tubular shape,
And the lens is being closed right now. Is
as
it?
you can see now, the camera operator is trying to close the lens to lose the sight of the object, but the object suddenly disappeared. So our question is, what was the Atlantis expelling these huge amounts of liquids? What was this liquid? Water or some kind of acid or something? Was this an experiment, or just, as NASA says, they were just throwing waste water for half an hour? So the question is there. And of course, the more images of unidentified objects during the mission. These are of the next days. And well, at this point, Atlantis was experiencing, and the astronaut, they were witnessing and convinced that they were not alone out there.
And it's very important to see that the people who is operating these cameras, it's interested in the objects because it follows the objects or the lights, and we can see that the intention is to see them clearly because it's nothing, just coincidental when you see that the camera follows the movements of this. And finally, we have here this video. You never saw it like this in the television. This is the object. This is the object that obstructed Atlantis.
In the upper part of the screen, now to the left, you can see a black dot. You will see it on Zoom also.
Fairly small. But
You can hear the
we did,
astronaut?
get several pictures we can send down to you. Okay, and do you have a time on that? It just happened. And do you have a rate or a range rate or a direction of that object? It was departing away from us. I would say it'd be hard to estimate the velocity. Maybe my guess would be 1 to 2 feet per second, and it was going in a clock code about 10 o'clock away from window 1. Pretty much, fairly level with the orbital. In terms of altitude relative to the Earth, seemed fairly constant. It wasn't rising or falling out the window much, but it was definitely
This
moving
is
away.
what NASA presented on the television right here. This is what you saw on your television. Compare the difference. And it's very clear that you lose the whole perspective when you see just something like this. I don't think it was accidental that this was presented that way.
Sounds good. Thanks for getting the
And this is took NASA by complete surprise. Complete surprise, and for the first time,
And
without any precedent.
The object was there for hours.
And for the first time, without any precedent, NASA decides to delay the return.
Okay. Then on November 22nd, Mikhail Yurin and Mike Lopez Alegria had a spacewalk in the International Space Station. They couldn't open the door. With no reason, they just couldn't open the door of the International Space Station.
And now this mission was performed by the Russian team on the International Space Station. This was the Expedition 14 works, a spacewalk. And so the astronaut and the cosmonaut were ready, completely ready. They take a long time, to decompress the last gate. And so they were just ready to go outside of space, but for some reason they could not open the gate. So it took about 20 minutes, and they and also the operators in Russia, in the control room, were also very disconcerted. We don't know what ahead. So we want you to hear very carefully the audio, because the original audio is in Russian, but there is a translator to English. So we want you to see the images and to hear what they are saying, and the images and the audio speak for themselves, okay?
Because it seems that a UFO was moving in front of the International Space Station when all this was happening.
Yes, there is something that's on the way. Let's try it this way now. Understand the reason. Maybe there is some foreign object. Maybe something is on the way. Okay, for right now, just go ahead and look at the entire hedge. Try to inspect it. And you know, I'd say that the resistance is pretty sufficient. Well, but I cannot see anything on my side. I cannot see any obstacles. Well, the same here. I do not see anything either. I don't understand what's going on. Let's try to close it. Okay. Yes, guys, go ahead. Close it. Use the tool. Close it.
And when the object disappeared, they were able to open the door.
Coincidence?
It's like a game, you know? They don't let us to go out if they don't want to. For me, they are just little things to let us know that the space doesn't belong to the human beings. The space belongs to all the civilizations, all the intelligent beings that exist in the universe. It's not for us to put their weapons, to put trash, to pollute, to contaminate the space. I think they are trying not to tell us what we need to communicate. We need to accept this phenomenon, and we need to start respecting the universal laws. And I think that's the most important message. In December, from the 9th to the 22nd of December, we had the mission STS-116, once again by the Discovery. And in this time, I think we obtained the most important images around this mission, and the one that is the most spectacular.
This was an important mission because it involves 3 spacewalk and 12 days of work, and also the action began very early, since the first day. This is a beautiful image, a beautiful look in the bottom of the screen. One of the most beautiful images that we have seen of an unknown object traveling.
Watch the objects coming. It's always the same shape. Big objects look like tubular objects. They move, they come, they present themselves, and then they go. Again, they are warning us.
And these transmissions, most of the times, the camera operator closes the lens, so we cannot see the background for some reason. But suddenly, The objects have so much intense light that even that the lenses are closed, just to have the close range, the objects can be detected because they approach the shuttle or the International Space Station, as you can see here, and then they fade. So this was repeating during this mission, and of course, the camera operator in Houston knew about it, and it seems that they were very interested also, so they didn't interrupt the transmissions, and we can get these images. On the upper part of the screen,
A very,
Once
very
again.
small. Now it's here. Here.
as you can see, the new cameras of the International Space Station and the shuttles are sophisticated, very advanced. They have now a great technology, so we can have a full color.
It
And
looks
this-
like now it's separating in two, but I believe it's a light effect
Yes.
because now it's
As you
one
can
again.
see, it's merging itself, is merging into one. Unusual phenomena. And then disappeared. And it's not a reflection. A reflection is the one at the upper part of the screen that always, all the time is there. Now, this is very interesting sequence. Look at the left part of the screen. Can you put pause? Now, this is an incident that Jaime and I loved so much to watch. This is the control center for the International Space Station in Houston. Now, you can see in the upper part of the screen, there is a big screen that is dark. Well, now that screen is, the camera is pointing from the International Space Station, is pointing to our planet. Now, because it's at night, you cannot see almost anything, but keep watching the screen because something is going to appear. And at that exact moment, when this huge object appeared, the camera operator in Houston switched directly to watch the whole picture, and look what happened.
You can see the silhouette of the Earth right here. Okay, now look what happens.
Look what happens. Here it comes. You see it? Okay, and then immediately, the camera operator switched to see what was that. And he's now focusing, he's now getting closer with making zoom, a close-up, and suddenly other objects also appeared.
It seems that this is being recorded from the International Space Station. And it seems now that these objects are going straight to the International Space Station. They switch the camera.
This is
the
another
International
camera, yes.
Space Station.
This is another camera in which you can see the panels from the International Space Station. You can see here our planet. The camera operator is looking, searching, again for the mysterious object, and there it was, and also some objects. Now look how he's very slowly trying to focus, adjusting the camera, and look what is going to happen.
You can see the Earth here, and you can see the objects coming here very clearly now. And there were like 5 or 6 of these objects, but then suddenly,
the object, he cannot find the object. What it is? What is it? There are these smaller objects, and he began moving, panning the camera, trying to locate the object of his interest.
now that you see the solar panels, in the other side of the solar panels, you see a very bright object moving. It means that it's just above the International Space Station.
So what happened was that the object, the UFO, got closer to the International Space Station, and it seems that it's reviewing or is observing the panels. And look how the camera operator is disconcerted. Is trying to
he doesn't
see-
know if
doesn't
to
know
show
what
it
it is.
or not to show it. Here you can see the shape of the object, you can see how it's moving.
Look the size, it's amazing. And it's so close to the panels. And look how it's moving. So this is indeed an amazing incident in which, of course, they were concerned because at that time they have problems with the panels, you remember? So could it be a coincidence? Ponle pausa. Pausa. Okay.
We believe this is a very good example of what is happening right now in the space. I ask you to follow the transmissions of NASA. You can do what Santiago is doing. I believe that if many people do this, we will have more evidences and they won't be able to obstacle this. And the evidences can go to the media. I am very sure that if television channels see this, they will present this. And I think there is something that everybody can do. It's a lot of work. You have to be there and record everything. And then you have to check everything. It's a lot of work. It's something that Santiago does. But anybody can do this. But again, this is proving that something has changed in the space. Now it's different. Now they are not far away. Now they are very near. And if I am right, because this is an hypothesis, I don't know, I am guessing, but if I am right, then in the very near future, in the next missions, we will see more and more of this. I think we will see more and more problems until probably, we won't be able to continue doing anything in the space if we don't take responsibility of our actions. And we will see that. If that is true, then the contact, the so-called contact, the communication is going to start in the space. It's not going to start on Earth. It's going to start there. And that is why I believe it's so important what is happening right now. I think September 19 was a crosswalk.
Open it.
The beginning of a new era in the space. I think it's something that has changed and will continue changing over the very near future. Now, let's go because time is running. We want to present you the Mexican sightings, what is happening right now in our country.
Can we bring the lights down again, please?
The lights off, please.
Thank you. Look at that. Do you like it? It's always exciting to see again the flying saucer, isn't it?
This is a real disc flying over the skies of Mexico, recorded by probably the best vigilante of the skies. It's a 65-year-old man, Arturo Robles Gil, who is an incredible photographer and cameraman.
And also this saucer-shaped, classic flying saucer is going to perform a morphing feature in which change, in some way, shape. An amazing feature that always disconcerts all of us. And look how metallic it seems, of course.
We have seen many times these spheres going very close the airplanes. Please watch carefully. The turbulence of the airplane moves the sphere, but just a little, because the spheres goes back. And that is impossible. If this was a balloon or something else, it wouldn't be that way. It would have exploded. We can see that it's under the influence of the airplane, but nothing happens to it. These spheres many times go very near the airplanes. I hope there we won't have an accident because it could happen any day.
So these kinds of incidents are repeating these days over Mexico City.
The people in the tower of control know very well what is happening. They come to our offices and see what is going on, and they know and they are worried. They want the law to be changed because the controllers don't want to take the responsibility of this if this is not recognized, and the pilots too. Then probably we will see something, an unprecedented move, legal move by the controllers to avoid this responsibility because they don't know how to handle this, especially if it's not recognized.
Well, we can say that there has not been a single accident reflecting that these objects indeed have intelligent maneuvers. We have been witnessing.
And now this doesn't have precedence in history. For the first time, a UFO chasing an airplane. Many times pilots have reported this, but we haven't seen it before as clear as this.
Do you see what we meant? This is a unique footage of a very
I have an
strange
organization,
incident.
Los Niños de Oro, the golden kids that have excellent grades in the school. I mean, perfect grades. And one of these parents, the parent of a Niño de Oro, is the one who recorded this. He was using a camera for the first time in his life.
This is a maximum approach, extreme approach, and as you can see, no accident, but the concern of the pilots, yes, of course, they are concerned. They don't know what is going on. And also the aeronautic authorities. Now, we have their attention thanks to this. Maybe now we can work together as we want.
Thank you. Again, for the first time, a UFO recorded from inside a highway patrol. This is in the state of Veracruz.
This is an official police patrol man video that he took by
Jose
accident.
Antonio Beristain is his name. I talked to many witnesses there.
You can see there, it's moving.
This happened over the last days of October last year.
There it is, to the right, from the right, there it is. It seemed that it was descending. Of course, the police officer was so distracted, he forgot the... But as you can see, the shape, unusual shape, rhomboid shape, red in color. And they later searched the whole area but didn't find anything, so it could not be a balloon. They searched the whole area and they didn't find anything at that moment. So the mystery is still there.
And many people saw this. Many people saw this very near, and they said that the size of this was around 8 to 10 meters, which was huge to be a balloon, and there is no reason to consider this.
Aquí es donde jalo la cámara y
a
la
balloon.
pongo hacia allá. Y es ahí donde, exactamente entre esos cerros que se ven ahí, donde se empezó a apreciar el objeto. Y donde venía, estaba más alto y empieza a descender.
This is the policeman
Llega un momento
José
que se queda
Antonio
hasta-
Beristain.
Aquí porque esto fue presenciado por un gran número de testigos.
This is April 26, 2006. You see a strange object. You remember the fleets in Mexico, las flotillas. And it's like if this object is checking in a flotilla.
This is one of the most spectacular UFO fleets footage of all times. Arturo Robles, who is a great experiencer, skywatcher, told us they look like an invasion, but it was not an invasion, of course. It was a wonderful demonstration, a wonderful demonstration in the skies over Mexico City. And as you can see, the bigger one is, and you are going to see that the bigger one suddenly got more speed in an amazing way.
But you can see how the object moves and the others just stand still.
Now, the object, the bigger one, is increasing the speed. Look at that. That's amazing. That's a sudden maneuver, while the others, all the rest of the spheres remain still. So, and he's flying against the wind, so do we need to say more? Look at that. There were about 200.
Probably, yes.
Or more. So if you go to Mexico City and see this spectacle, wouldn't you be excited?
Now, as I said, this is going to be in Spanish because this is an excerpt from the transmission from February 1st, 2007. Very recent. This was in the Mexican television. Please watch the UFOs, hear the excitement if you don't understand. I think you will get the whole picture, even if you don't speak Spanish.
El punto desde aquí en vivo, desde Tepoztlán, con estas imágenes, como bien lo ha mencionado Alfredo Adame y Jaime Maussan, esta transmisión histórica en vivo, porque yo alcancé a ver, puedo hablar de 6 objetos voladores no identificados. Sin embargo, mis compañeros dicen que de 30 a 40 y hasta podrían haber sido 50. Johan Díaz.
Exactamente. A mí lo que me llama más la atención es toda la reacción de la gente que se encuentra ya reunida, que son cerca de 200 personas.
They are on the roof where Arturo Robles
que es pequeño. Y que, bueno, todos ven a este tipo de objetos que son unas esferas y que son referidas, y que incluso en este momento Salvador Guerrero anuncia de que hay nuevamente estos objetos ahí en el cielo, ¿no, Tony?
Y sí, además queremos aclarar que las nubes eventualmente cubren el panorama, cubren el cielo, pero bueno, una vez que se despeja, que es lo que desde un principio nos advirtió Salvador, despejándose el cielo, vamos a ver, teníamos nuestras reservas, nuestras sospechas, pero bueno, hemos estado captando en vivo y en directo estas imágenes que sorprenden, Johan.
Exactamente, 30, quizá 10, quizá 5, pero lo más importante es de que está en vivo, transmitiéndose a toda la República Mexicana, y que se den cuenta de que el grupo de los vigilantes pues no son personas que se dediquen a fabricar este tipo de videos, como en muchas ocasiones se han levantado voces para asegurar tal cosa.
Pues viva la mañana haciendo historia en vivo y en directo, llevándole puntualmente en el momento en que ocurre la noticia, en esta situación que nos ha sorprendido, en este fenómeno tan alabado por muchos, pero también criticado por otros. Regresamos a los estudios. ¿Qué comentan al respecto, Alfredo?
No, pues muy interesante, Tony, y de verdad qué suerte tenemos, qué suerte tienen los que no se bañan, ¿eh?
Qué suerte.
Qué suerte tuvimos de poder capturar todos y tener imágenes, y además pues ya lo tenemos sellado, dice ahí viva la mañana, ya está sellado para que luego no salgan con que
Yo lo grabé.
sí, con que yo lo grabé, yo quién sabe qué, son del programa Viva la Mañana. Nosotros 11 de la mañana con 41 minutos, regresamos.
Next day, I think you got the idea here. But next day, this is what is most amazing. Next day, Mexico City, a full demonstration of these objects all around the city. Fortunately enough, Arturo Robles Gil was there once again, and he obtained one of the most beautiful images of a fleet. I consider this a ballet. Please enjoy. Do you think this was accidental? I found a video that I didn't show you last year. It's the only one, I think, from 2005. But I think it's a beautiful video. It's an electrical cell.
This is very unusual. We have never seen anything like this before.
There are many strange things in the skies that we don't know what they are. I cannot say this is a UFO. I don't know if it's a plasma object or what. But surely looks very strange. On May 14, these strange objects that we call EBANIS of Unidentified Flying Abnormal Biological Entity.
As you can see, there are two objects, worm-shaped, very long objects. We believe they are more than 10 meters, maybe 20 meters. And you're going to see some airplanes passing by.
We think that these objects are the ones that transport the spheres, because we have seen many times these objects releasing the spheres.
And suddenly, one of them twisted itself in very strange way. So we are still disconcerted by these kind of sightings that are repeating, of course. we don't know what to think about it.
We call this the think, because what the hell is it?
And of course it looks similar to the other ones, but it's black in color and it doesn't move, not even with the air. It was just there. This was taped in Acapulco by Arturo Robles. And as you can see, preserves the same position and exhibits some kind of texture, unknown, very weird things in the sky, indeed.
And this is very old, as you see, February 25th, 2007. That's from Sunday. And you can see, what is that? It's like a serpent. Is this what the old people said was the plumber serpent, Quetzalcoatl, Kukulkan? Is that why that legend exists? I really believe so, because we have seen so many of these. We are not presenting everything. We are presenting some of it. But these things are very common over the skies of Mexico. And many times they release the spheres. Arturo said that this thing was releasing the spheres, but they were very high. Look, the movements, it's just like a serpent. Thank you. In our television program, we receive pictures all the time, and this is just very recent. This is from Puerto Rico, November 15, 2006. And most of these pictures, the witnesses didn't see the objects. I just present you some of them because we have a special section every week. This is from Houston. We received many pictures from the US, from Jorge Eder Guerra Campos in Houston. Most of the occasions, these people didn't see the objects, like in this case. This is a race in the state of Tamaulipas, a cross-country race. And you have seen this so-called stingray. As I said, 90% of the time, the people don't see the objects. 90%. They just take the photograph, like in this case.
Roger, you're 1930.
And most of the times, the shape of the objects that appear suddenly on the photographs are saucer shaped. That's remarkable. Maybe it's a clue to this mystery.
You see, then people are taking this without knowing. Now I went to Italy in January to meet this man. He is Antonio Ursi. I remember this name, Antonio Ursi. He was going to be here. I hope he will be here by next year with an incredible story. I went there to investigate this man. Since he was a little kid, he went to the roof of his house. His mother, remember, she's from Argentina. His father is from Italy. And he went to the roof and he said, "Mommy, Mommy, I saw a UFO." They didn't believe him. But then, in life, all of them, all of his family, all of his friends had experiences with him. recently he started recording these UFOs because they are coming now to visit him in his house. And he is now recording them because they pose for him, as you will be able to see. I believe after George Adamski, Billy Mayer, now is Antonio Ursi. And I hope he and his girlfriend, Simona Sibila, will be here next year because I'm very sure you are going to love what you are going to see.
Can you bring the lights down, please? Thank you.
I'm going to produce a video.
Este es el hogar de
And I am explaining here that Antonio records from these windows. He lives in the attic of a building. He doesn't have any window. The only thing he has is that holes for ventilation. And then he takes a ladder. He claims the ladder, and in a very difficult position, he records the
Antonio
UFOs.
realiza sus grabaciones. Resulta verdaderamente sorprendente el que
I
una
was
persona con
surprised.
tan poco espacio haya logrado videos tan extraordinarios.
From the other side, you can see this is Milan, Cinisello Balsamo in Milan, and this is the place where he records. It's very uncomfortable to do it from there. Very. But it's amazing. And he doesn't claim to be a contactee. He hasn't received any message. Nothing. He's a very simple man. He didn't ask me for anything for his videos. Jim Delatoso is helping me with this. He has a copy of these videos, and he told me that probably the size of the objects are from 5 to 7 meters. That's around, 5 to 7 yards. This is June 30th, 2004. As you see, the objects don't move, they just stand there. I think he attracts them, and very soon he will provide a very important story. I am expecting that to happen anytime. They are not very well recorded, but this gives more credibility to these videos. Because to produce that in a computer would be extremely difficult. He also records in the middle of the night. This is midnight.
Yeah? It's very difficult to record from there. I know what you mean. But again, if he did this with a tripod, would you believe it? Would be perfect. But yeah, in the future, I asked him to have more points of reference, to have buildings, to have people around him, to talk to the camera, to tell us what he's seeing, what is happening, what is he feeling. You see, he's learning to do this, but the videos are just amazing. Sometimes you see are many different presentations. This is a to present you these photographs from February 9, 2005, because this happened over an electrical plant in Guerrero Negro in Baja California, in Mexico. And you can see here a very similar object and a very similar object to the Adamski photographs. If you compare both, they look very much alike. It's like the Adamski crafts have come back. This is from May the 5th, 2004 in Port, with the same kind of craft. Just a very brief comment. And now,
Tengo entendido que usted vio
this is the
primero
interview
ese
I made to
caballo
them
que
because
sorprende porque está volando en el cielo.
Antonio Ursi recorded on
Sí,
October 17,
estando en la cocina con Antonio y mi hermanita de 7 años, estaba preparando la merienda
something
y me
extraordinary.
asomé por la ventana del balcón como lo hago cotidianamente. Estoy acostumbrada a mirar
You better
hacia
see it
afuera
for
desde
You better
yourself.
see it.
Veo un objeto raro y enorme,
Look.
a la distancia, como a 500 o 600 metros, pero no distinguía muy bien, no entendía qué era,
A flying
y
horse.
pensé que era un helicóptero
Or a horse
o
that is
un ovni. No
levitating.
entendía bien qué era. Me quedé 3
So to
o
speak.
4 minutos mirándolo, y después salí al balcón y
I
quedé
asked many
petrificada.
experts
Vi que era un caballo,
if this was a balloon,
un caballo volador.
and they say
Y
no,
le grité a Antonio.
because
Él se asomó al balcón
a balloon
mirar,
that
y
size,
le costó
of the
trabajo
size of
creer
a
lo que estaba
horse,
viendo.
you couldn't control it. You would need a
Subió las
rope.
escaleras, tomó la
control
cámara
it.
y salió para grabar el caballo con mi hermanita presente.
Then in Mexico, the experts said this had to be real.
También lo vieron ellos.
Many people have tried
bien
in
como se
Japan,
muestra en la grabación.
in Italy, and in Mexico.
Café.
They have tried to
Café Mayo en
reproduce
términos.
this, but it's always the same. They use small horses, and when they release them, they just
Tengo
go
experiencia en
straight
caballos y el
up.
comportamiento no era
They
normal.
never present this movement, and they go
Era un caballo en el
going
cielo.
upside
Y al
down
estar suspendido en el aire pude advertir una gran tensión por
and
parte
taking
del
all the
caballo.
positions. Why then
Cuando un caballo se asusta por la
this
cercanía de
happened
una
to this
persona
man,
a
the
2
same man
metros,
who is recording UFOs in Italy,
presenta
because I
ciertas
present,
características.
I think they are signs.
Uno puede notar que abre las
It's
fosas
a demonstration,
nasales y separan las
probably a
orejas.
power demonstration, probably
Se pone
a
atento,
demonstration
se
to
le
tell
endurece
us,
el cuello
look
y
what
lo
we
arquea
can
como
do,
los de raza
and we
árabe.
are using you to record
Sí, de
this,
esta
to
forma.
present this
Y
to
esto
the
se
world.
nota a los 7
He's
u 8
explaining
minutos de la
that they
grabación.
saw the horse very near. He
Durante
didn't
todo el
have a camera, he had to
tiempo
go
que se
for the
grabó,
camera.
se ve
Then
claramente.
he came back and got the images.
Esto es real.
And he's as amazed as we were. I couldn't believe it.
Donde hay globos de 90 u 80
After I saw this
centímetros
image,
que tiene la figura de un
I kept
caballo.
it on my mind for days.
Se nota muy
Because
bien que está volando porque si fuera un
it's
globo
against-
inflado con helio, este volaría
against,
hacia arriba.
The common sense. It's a
Es
challenge to
ligero
common
y
sense.
se movería de derecha a
But we have
izquierda en
heard
movimientos
stories about the
constantes.
abduction of cows for mutilation purposes, etc., etc., and there are witnesses. But this is the first time that we have a video of a similar incident.
Hear the audio, this is the original video.
Lo vedi bene? Cioè è enorme Antonio, è enorme. È troppo grosso.
È un cavallo.
Ma come mai? Adesso è fermo, lievemente.
Un cavallo e vola, scusa. Come dire?
Sappiamo solo noi!
Zitta, mi.
This last year, there were not many formations in the crop circles, but we had many three-dimensionals suggesting dimensional doors. Was a very strange year, very short summer, very dry, and again very wet. And we don't know if for that reason, but there were not many this year. But as you know, and most of the time there, for the ones that appear in the middle of August, the so-called images that I call the codex messages, but I will explain that just after this. Because we found that accidentally some scientists probably found a way how these formations are created. I know that many people believe are hoaxes. I know that there are some people, very skilled people in England, who can do incredible things, but I haven't seen them doing that at night, in the middle of the night, doing very important complex formations. But that's a different matter. What I want to present you here is this. These scientists were receiving the energy from the sun and converting the energy of the sun into sound. And they connect the sound to a membrane, and they put sand on that membrane. And this is what it happened. I propose this as a possibility to explain why this is happening in England. And probably you are wondering why I am talking about the crop circles, but you will see later, and you will see that it's also related to what is happening in Mexico. Just give me a few minutes, and please watch this carefully. I don't think you have ever seen this. Thank you. I think this is a possible way to explain how these formations are done. It's through, probably through sound. Yes, it's not the same technique. It's just the beginning of it. But I think here we have a possible way to explain how these are created, and these formations are not produced by man, but from a higher intelligence. Now, what I was telling you, why the crop formations in England are now related to Mexico, or the Mexican culture. Everything started the 3rd of August 2004, when we had this formation. This formation is related to the Mayan calendar, the calendar that is going to end on December of 2012. And this formation is reminding us of that event. In the center we have the cycle of life and death, the yin yang or hia hiu from the Maya. And around the circle we have numbers, and we have the representation of Kukulkan, the Mayan god. For that reason, I think this is related to the Mayan, and it's telling us that we are approaching the end of an era. From that moment, I started to investigate what the Mayans left to explain this change of an era. And they said that the activity of the sun was going to grow very importantly. And now we know that it's true. We're expecting the world's solar maximum by the year 2010, 11, and 12, probably even before. And at this moment that we have this global warming, has to be something really, what do you say, preocupante?
Very worrying.
Very
time.
worrying. We think that the combination of both probably will bring the end of this era and the beginning of the new one. Is this bad? No, I think in a way it's good, because we are going to have to change our values. We are going to have to be different in the very near future. And this is going to be good, especially for the future of humanity. On the year 2005, we had this formation I explained last year. This is the microcosm and macrocosms. What is up there is down here. And in the center is the figure of God. And this is also Mayan. I found since the year 2000 that in the middle of August, we received the most important message, a codified message. And these are codified messages. We now go and review the Mayan prophecies to understand what is going to happen, or what are they trying to tell us. On August the 9th, 2005, we had this formation, the Sol King calendar. The Sol King calendar is the calendar of 260 days. The Mayans consider that the life of a human being should be measured in cycles of 260 instead of 365. 13 months of 20 days. That's 260. Because it's the time of gestation of the human being. It's the time we are inside of our mothers. And that is why the cycle should be measured on the same parameter. That's what the Mayan consider. But why is this formation important? Because it has dates and numbers. Here. In the outside, we have the number 20. Here we have the number 20 in the outside. Then we have two groups of 13 lines, 13 by 4, 52, 13 by 20, 260,
13 by 4 is 52. Every 52 years we have the new fire. It's when the two calendars, the solar calendar and the Solking calendar met on the same point. They start all over again. And that is why the new fire was very important. In the center, we have this arc. This arc is the day zero. Which is the day zero? It's the 20th of May. Why? Because the Pleiades, the sun, and the earth are aligned. Okay, now here in the center, we have a partial eclipse that is going to happen exactly the 20th of May of 2012. Then we know now one day. And then we have the number 16 around that. 16 days later is the transit of Venus through the sun. Why are they telling us about the 20th of May and 6th of June? Or probably the time between the two dates? I don't know, probably we have to watch. Something important, it could be happening. And probably the answer, it would come the year after. That's 2006. I was in England and I was alone. There was not a single English investigator at that moment following. This is the eclipse of you will see it. The best place to see it is going to be around San Francisco, north of California, south of Oregon. And again, as I said, I was expecting something to happen, and nobody believed in me in that sense. There was not any investigator from England or international. I was completely alone. Fortunately, the 15th of August, this star appeared, and this is the symbol of the Mayan. What is this? Is LAMAT. What is LAMAT? LAMAT is the 8th symbol of the Maya, of the Solking calendar, and is the star of the end of times. Why? Because if you look the Dresden Codex, the calendar of 5,125 days, the first day is a LAMAT day, and the last day is a LAMAT day. It means that this star is signaling the end of times, the end of an era. It means this, that are we going to be destroyed? No. It's like December 31st. Are we going to be destroyed every December 31st? No. It's just the end of a year. This is marking the end of an era. And for the myologist Sergio Calderon, this formation is clearly related to the year before. It's complementing, it's telling us, yes, the end of the era, not the calendar, the end of the era is going to be May 19th, which is a LAMAT day, by the way, coincidentally, and the beginning of the era is going to be May the 20th. It's possible we will continue watching this to see if there are more messages related to this. For me, it was very exciting because this formation is very spectacular, it's very large, and I was expecting this to happen, and it happened. I was very proud. Again, I felt a little crazy for a few days. Everybody's going to be watching what is going to happen from the beginning to the middle of August. Is when all these messages, all these formations appear. And they want to tell us something else. Yes, we have many beautiful formations from May, June, July. But the messages, the real messages, the prophecies, the codices are in that time, in the middle of August. I call them the August messages. Thank you. Now this is going to be strong for some people, but this is happening since August 2005. This is happening in Mexico, United States, and Italy, where anybody's free to judge what you are going to see. For me, are the signs of change. The Bible, 2,000 years ago, referred to the figures, to the signs in the sky that appeared before Christ was born. It was marking the beginning of a new era. I don't think these formations, I don't think these figures, I don't think these images were produced by God. I think they were produced by intelligent creatures who know what they mean to us. You will see a cross that appeared on St. Petersburg, Florida, 14th of August, 2005. Our friend Ed Sherwood was able to find some of the witnesses to this event. Then, November 27, 2005, in Mexico City, what it looks like angels in the sky. And finally, in Italy, in Cinicello Balsamo, again, Antonio Ursi, December 10th, 2006, what it looks and the witnesses said was a virgin with a little infant in her arms. You are free to judge whatever you think. Are these miracles? Are these signs from other beings? Is someone trying to tell us something? These appeared 15 days before Katrina. This was observed by many people in Italy, even kids. They use binoculars. I talked to them, and they said, it was a virgin. What it means? Who put that figure, that formation, that symbol in there? I don't know. Probably someone who knows what this means to us. Being Italy a very religious country, United States, and Mexico. You can see how it moves the head, or what it looks like the head, like a mother seeing a little child. There are many different reactions to this video. Here we have an amplification. We can almost see the face. This drawing was made by a little boy named Luca, 8-year-old Luca, who saw with binoculars. What I believe this really means are the signs of change. Something important, and I think human beings had to ask to their hearts, how should we behave? We need to be together, now more than ever. If this is a virgin or not, what it's trying to tell us is that there are probably coming difficult times. With human beings will be able to go and continue. But we need to help each other. We need to be close to each other. We need to be ready to be closer to God. To be decent, ethical. We need a new humanity. Since last year, we couldn't finish as we wanted. We will insist this time, and we will present this ending. And I will ask my friend Santiago to translate this for you, if you remember all the programs we had. Okay.
Can you bring the line down, please?
No estamos solos.
We are not alone.
Nunca hemos estado
We
solos.
have never been alone.
El universo rebosa de vida inteligente.
The universe
Tenemos
is
una
beautiful and
íntima
intelligent.
interrelación con inteligencia extraterrestre avanzada
We are
desde el
confronting an
principio de
advanced
nuestra historia.
extraterrestrial intelligence.
Esta revelación es importante no solo para el pueblo de los Estados Unidos o para el pueblo de México.
This knowledge is not only
Es
important
importante
for the
para
United States
toda la
people or
población mundial.
Mexican people, but the whole humankind.
Esta realidad
This
es tan
reality,
poderosa y es tan increíblemente bella
it's so
que mi
incredible,
visión
beautiful,
y mi entendimiento personal es que si el pueblo participa de esto,
and it's
si se le dice la
so
verdad,
amazing how
si
the
se le
people
permite compartir esta
react and
realidad,
participate in
la
this reality.
realidad de que no estamos solos y
This
que
is
nunca
showing
hemos
us
estado solos,
the really truth
eso en sí mismo
of who we are.
le proporcionará una enorme expansión de la conciencia a la raza humana.
This is a great
Robert
opportunity
D.
to a
coronel retirado del
consciousness
ejército de los
awakening
Estados
for the
Unidos.
humankind.
Bob D.
words by Bob Dylan.
Well, we want to finish this presentation. Remember this phrase that appeared some time ago in England in one of the formations. If you remember this, when he said, remember that there is still good out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. We love each other.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jaime Maussan, Santiago Garza.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
The best.